is going to be hypo. What's going on? So today, Eric from Monster Morphs brought up some stuff for us to look at. Well, I guess just get right down to it. Alright, obviously we have hypos. I can tell it's chocolate, I can tell it's pinstripe. So let's talk about the pairing on these.
Alright, so pairing was pinstripe yellow belly hypo het DG male to chocolate enchi hypo het DG female.
Everything in the clutch is going to be hypo.
Yep. 66% het or visual.
Right. So you got hypo to hypo, everything's hypo, and then head to head on the DG part. So the visuals, if you make any, obviously they're going to be visual DG, but if they're not visual, they'll be 66% head from the head to head pairing. Yep. So I like it. So what we got here?
So pinstripe hypo, chocolate hypo. I'm pretty sure they're not DG. So it'll be 66% het DG.
Right. So, and this is not chocolate, and it's not
yellow belly or enchi,
and it's not yellow belly.
So it's just a plain Jane pinstripe hypo.
Pinstripe hypo. So
same with the chocolate. I'm pretty sure it's not yellow belly.
Yeah.
Or I know it's not enchi because I have one, and then obviously not pinstripe.
Yep.
So
right on. So there's another chocolate.
Yeah, second chocolate, same thing.
Another chocolate?
So something I do want to point out while we're talking about this is these two are slightly different.
This one is a little bit lighter and brighter.
So a lot of people automatically want to think, well, it's different, so there's got to be something else there. And that's not always the case. I hear and see people talk about, well, this one looks a little bit different, so there's got to be something else there, so it must be the yellow belly at play. Well, my opinion is I don't see yellow belly in these.
Nope.
I think they're both just chocolate hypos.
Yeah.
And the reason for that difference is because genes can vary. Some genes can vary a lot.
Yeah.
So just because you have two animals that look similar but slightly different doesn't necessarily mean you have another gene at play.
Yeah, I mean, you could take simple stuff like pastels. Some pastels actually look good, and some just don't.
Yep.
But so if this was a clutch for me, and I was looking to make a bunch of holdbacks to prove stuff out, I would say that's probably going to prove out het Desert Ghost, being a little bit brighter, a little better looking. Whereas that's probably just 66% het. I mean, it might prove, it might not. But if I was going to keep one for myself, obviously I'm going to keep the better looking one.
Right. So just a little pro tip out there. For y'all, and just basic information that just because two animals look similar but not quite the same doesn't mean you have more there. So, right, next up.
As breeders, we always want to think that though. When you get your clutches, you get your eggs. I mean, I know Tony's got texts from me and stuff like, "Hey man, I think," and then it comes out and sheds. You're like, "Yeah man, that's what I wanted, but it's nothing even close."
Oh man, it's just a regular pastel. It wasn't nothing special. Ooh.
All right. So this is where things get tricky, especially with hypo and DG.
Like tricky.
Tricky.
Trick.
Not that kind of tricky. So, let's face it. Hypo DG is very difficult to see as a baby. Although it makes a huge difference as an adult.
Yep.
So, you know, a lot of people don't like the Hypo DG project because they can't ID the babies. Well, I can kind of see that. However, as an adult, Hypo DG stuff is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to get into that big spiel or big rant. However, this is a good example of the downside of doing hypo DG stuff. This animal is obviously brighter in comparison with just the pin hypo.
Yeah.
But we also had two other genes in this pairing that can increase color.
Yep.
Inchy and yellow belly. This is definitely not chocolate.
Nope.
But there is a possibility of being inchy and yellow belly. I believe this is yellow belly.
Yellow belly for sure, yeah.
Just based off of the side pattern. And I don't think it's inchy.
No, inchy would have reduced the pattern. You know, you get the standard like blocking that you get with pinstripe.
So it leads you to think that this could be and probably is a visual DG. So the only way that you can tell on this hypo DG stuff is if it's truly DG is to let it sit, eat, shed a couple of times.
Shed a couple times.
Then you'll obviously be able to tell the difference. But it can be a little difficult to pick out. So just keep that in mind on your hypo DG stuff. If you plan on making it, you're going to have to be willing to sit on it to make sure. Because you don't want to be wrong with this. Yeah. Eric does not want to sell this animal as a hypo DG and it not be DG.
And not be DG, or likewise sell it as a hypo and then it prove DG. Although the person wins, that's what, less than half the price.
That's right.
Less.
Yep.
You'd rather the customer win.
I would rather the customer win, sure. But I'm going to take my best shot at making sure the ID is 100% correct.
Exactly.
And then I will always downplay it, obviously, if not. But
yes.
I want to be sure that's not a hypo DG because that's a double recessive male that me or a friend of mine could potentially use, and I'd rather go there and
I'm that friend.
rather go there and be sure, and then there's no hard feelings or anything like that.
I mean, I bought a snake from a guy and it ended up being like Xanthic.
Yep. Hitting Xanthics.
That guy.
So
it happens.
Snake pooped one out, and I was like, "How did this even happen?"
And likewise, I mean, you'll see more of that in the future.
Yeah.
We may have talked about it before. Where the possets nowadays, people are just, I mean, it's not worth it because no one's taking the risk like they used to with the recessives to get 50% hets and try to prove them out, and then do that. So people are saying, "Hey, here's a hypo pinstripe," and you may not know that it's 66% het desert ghost. But you get it and you said, all right, well, let me breed it to my hypo desert ghost to make hets. Right. And then all of a sudden you make pinstripe hypo desert ghost. You're like, oh crap, it was het desert ghost. Well, I think we'll see a lot more of that in the future, especially with the newer recessives. People are, trying to hit the odds, are hitting, 50% het sunsets or 50% het, whatever, cryptic stuff. That's all going to pop up in the future. Hey man, I bred these two together and I got a sunset. Well, yeah, because somebody unloaded a bunch of 50% hets.
Congratulations.
Well, I mean, look how many times I've proved out hypo stuff.
Hypo all the time, because that was one of the first ones people were willing to just basically throw it away. Like, don't say it's het hypo. Well, it's a cool snake. Well, the dad was possible het hypo. Well, it proved out.
There you go.
Because there's two sides of that battle. Some people say, well, the Haas hets are worth it. Some people say they don't. So you have difference in opinions as to whether or not it should matter when you're buying a snake or not.
Yeah.
So that's a whole different ballgame. We're not getting into that.
No, not that one.
All right. So there is one more. This one is a little bit different than those.
Yeah, quite a bit.
I was being sarcastic. This one's a lot different. So this is one of those hypo DGs that you can tell is hypo DG right out of the egg. Or right out of the shed.
Shed, yep.
Can't tell it out the egg, but you can tell it after the shed. So this is going to be chocolate inchy and I think yellow belly as well.
Yeah, I think that'll definitely
hypo
yellow
DG.
belly. Yep.
So what's so funny is Eric actually hit the animal that he was looking for.
This was the male I wanted out of that pairing for future, to hold back for future in the project. So nothing against the pinstripe, but in males it's hard for me because if you have a lot of stuff, you're gonna make a lot of pinstripes. But I don't mind having females and stuff like that. But this is the male I wanted because I like Enchi, I like chocolate, and definitely yellow belly. Now I can stack it with hold back stuff that I have, or potentially work that project to get genes that work really well with those in there. Yep. Enchi, chocolate, and yellow belly are staples. I mean, those are great animals to build on.
You see a lot of chocolate inchy stuff, in Desert Ghost and Hypo, mainly because of the bells.
The bell stuff, yeah.
But you don't see a lot of yellow belly.
The yellow belly was the kicker.
So the yellow belly is a big kicker in this particular animal, in my opinion.
And truthfully, if it was just a chocolate Enchi, I wouldn't even keep it. I'd probably put it up for sale because having that yellow belly for the way it's going to work with other stuff in the future was key.
Yep. I agree.
So, and that was why I bought the dad too, the pinstripe yellow belly. If it was just pinstripe or something, I would have never
taken a risk on
it. It was the yellow belly.
Anyway, Eric's got a great clutch here. glad he brought it up to show off. Hopefully, we have 2 visual hypo DGs here from a head-to-head pairing, and then.
My hunches are that's going to be DG. It's just too clean and bright.
Yeah, I think so. But anyway, appreciate him showing them or bringing them up here to show off and give you a little bit of education on this. At least these 3. This one's staying here with me.
Yeah. These 3 will be for sale.
We don't know about this one yet, but those 3 will definitely be for sale. I think you got a
male, female, and then male.
Right. So if you're interested in them, hit Eric up. These have already had a meal, and we'll see y'all next time.
Be out! Thanks for watching Hardwired Exotics, and make sure you subscribe.